one's good now.
Hey, how about that?
Start us out, Kevin. How about that? Let's do it.
We're doing it.
Let's do this. Hello, everybody in Facebook Live land. We are the Podguyz podcast, bringing it to you live as we do every Monday. We are slightly late. Facebook does it again. Congratulations. Thank you.
Zuckerberg! Zuckerberg!
Zuckerberg!
Son of a bitch.
Son of a hobgoblin. I am Tony Kaz, followed by
Kevin Neary here.
Of course, we have the ever-loving Picasso, the doer of do's and the don'ters of don'ts. He didn't want to wear a long sleeve shirt today because it's hot.
Well, get a goddamn air conditioner in your house there, Sparky. What's wrong with you?
I'm cheap.
That's all right.
It's Sparky.
And for our non-viewing audience, the big board says hi.
Now, guys, this is not a facsimile. This is not an aberration of your imagination. We are joined by a fourth square today. A beautiful, talented actress, Roella Day. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Insert. I see that you got the background there. Do you have like a little wine thing going on?
Yeah,
nice.
I collect alcohol.
Well, at least you collected some. Some
She's
people
a collector,
just
not really a drinker.
That's all right.
Yeah, I just waiting on the right moment.
Of course, of course. Now, Roella, we're going to go into your life a little bit. Of course, you have joined our show because, you know, we're pretty cool. We do some great interviews. We talk to celebrities. We talk to artists, writers, directors, comedians, entertainers across the spectrum. And we have come to you, the specialist of special. So, we're going to go down a little road of life. And Roella, as we spoke about before, give me a little turnstile of what your life has been so far. You know, where has your entertainment and entertainment experience come along?
Okay. Well, I started doing background acting in late 2019.
Okay.
And
so you're still a newbie to the newbie. Well, not newbie, but like, you know, you got a couple years under your belt.
I'm checking out the IMDb right here, and it says the Final 48. Now, the Final 48 is a credited one. I'm also on IMDb myself. So, you know, normally, now if you see only a couple credits on here, that's not always just what the person has done. That is the only thing that has actually been credited and approved and all that nice stuff. But the Final 48, did you do background in that or front round, or were you?
So it was an independent film, and it was filmed in, let's see.
Yeah, it says here 2021, so sometimes it takes a couple of years.
It's having a problem with their volume.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, you're good now. You're good now. It was just catching back up.
It was filmed in 4 days at one location with 6 actors and 9 cameras, or maybe it was 9 actors and 6 cameras. Anyways, so it was all improv except for one scripted line, which was the final line, and I give it at the very end of the film. And we all just knew our backstories, and we all had this surprise reveal. And Lisa Sanow, she did it in the form of Dogma 90. I think it's Dogma. It's a Danish form of filming.
Nice.
Now I should know this stuff.
That's all right. Well, here's just like a little overlap of the Final 48, because it sounds like, remember the TV show 24, Tony?
Yeah.
So this sounds like a sequel of that, if you're naming it Final 48 or whatever.
Yeah. Well, it was final 48 because we had to go all stay at this house. The patriarch, he's passing away, and he's got 48 hours, and he wants us to stay at the house with him for 48 hours. So it's his final 48.
Nice. So it says to receive their inheritance, business magnate Hudson Graham has mandated his surviving family members return to their homestead and spend his final hours together under one roof. Now that sounds like a fun improv where you don't really have a script, but you have an outline, and it's a very free-flowing thing. It is a Danish kind of way to do things. And so this was not your first film, though. You're credited here for a couple others all around. But yeah, you have.
Yeah, it was my that was my first real one where I had lines and I actually was in front of the camera and stuff instead of in the background.
Well, for our non-viewing audience, Roella Day does have a face that should be in the front round right there. You know, I'm just saying there are some background-looking characters, right, Tony?
Look, I'm one of them.
You are not one of them because Tony has this thing when on camera that he will pop the fuck out no matter what. You know, you can't keep your eyes off of him, you know, sort of thing. You know, it's like it's tough.
He finds his light. He finds his light.
Stop it. Stop.
It kind of just looks like he should be saying.
Look at him right now. He's got the light on him. See, it's perfectly see.
It's like the audience would wait for him to say something, you know, like Wayne, Wayne Knight from Seinfeld, you you can't just play the mailman in Seinfeld, you know, like Jurassic Park. See, Tony, nobody cares.
Come on. Enough about me.
Seriously. No, we had to perform. Tony played the genie and then the bank robber guy, plus the loving father for his own children, which was a very easy role for him to play. The children weren't good at playing children, though. You know, they were pretty. They looked like they were larger midgets in the whole shot, right?
They weren't even my real kids. They were just like neighbor kids that I used for the show.
Not for kidnapping. We'd have no child actors, right? All of Disney.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Child actors.
I was watching that creepy commercial. They tried like having this. There was this old commercial. I gotta throw this out there. Well, there was this old commercial for Disneyland, right, to try to get people to go back in the 80s. Here, Michael Keaton starring in the commercial.
Oh,
right?
That was a fantastic commercial, by the way.
So creepy. So here they have him, throughout the commercial, they have him basically doing everything, right? And then he tries hooking up in front of the guys, in front of the father with this teenage girl. And when I say teenage,
his teenage daughter. Yeah.
I'm maxing this girl out at like 13 years old, and Michael Keaton always looks like he's 35 for like ever.
Yeah.
You know, even in the commercial.
Even though he's like in his 60s now.
He's still kind of
like 30 years old.
If you get him like, you know, he looks like a tired 35 now, but still. Here he literally goes up. He's like, well, they're Pops, and the guy's like, Pops. He's like, well, yeah, you know, I might need some help around here from your daughter. And she's like, oh, will you write me? He's like, of course I'll write you. I'm thinking to myself, hold the fuck on. So he somehow got her address during this whole entire thing, right? Where he's just like, hey, I don't want to call your house because, you know, your parents might hang up on me due to the fact that I'm like,
on the side.
Dad because I'm like 30 years old.
Hey, we're just staying at Disney World, and he's like, I just enjoyed every ride.
Yeah, and it just really, like, Disney is just, you know. So I had to share that with the Podguyz podcast Facebook fan page group or whatever the hell, because, you know, remember the time when Michael Keaton tried to kidnap a teenage girl for Walt Disney? We all, not too many people remember, but it happened. It was a real thing right there. Which, fun fact, Michael Keaton's real last name is Douglas, but since Michael Douglas was already a famous actor, Michael Keaton ended up taking Diane Keaton's last name because it was somebody that he really admired as an actress, even though Diane Keaton basically plays the same one-note actress in every movie that she's been in. But then again, Michael Keaton kind of plays that same one note over and over again anyways, because even when he's Batman, he's still fucking Michael Keaton playing Batman. He's not actually Michael Keaton is like a poorly drawn Jack Nicholson. You know, you think you got it right, and then you're like, oh shit,
Yeah.
that's not it. That's Michael Keaton. You're like, yeah, well, same fucking thing. So Tim Burton doubled down on the idea with Batman to get them both there, just in case one canceled and the other one didn't, or whatever the fuck. But I digress. We are here to talk more about you, Rodell. The Devil Comes Dressed for
wait.
Church 2. Sorry, go for it, Tony.
Sparky does have something on the big board for right now. Now,
Holy
Roella, before Sparky. Wow.
Use my signal. Hey, I saw her first. Shut up.
Shut up, Ezra.
Hey, what the
Yay,
fuck?
we're talking about Ezra Miller once again.
Oh my god.
Ezra Miller.
Why? Why is this guy get a pass? How does he get a pass? He got a hall pass from the woke community. It's like, guys, you know he's terrible, right? He's kidnapping children. We call him, we have a fun nickname for him here at the Podguyz podcast. We call him the Flash in the Peter Pan, because just like Peter Pan, he's kidnapping children, and, Flash in the Pan, hopefully his career will be someday. Somehow DC just said, you know what? Well, fuck it. We're going to make the movie anyways. We're just going to keep him in there.
Yep.
Like,
They need the money.
They do need the money because they're owned.
Damn,
They're owned by, they're partially owned by AT&T, so they definitely need the money.
All right, wait. I'm trying to get jobs. They just need the money so they can continue on with everything. So
that way they can
putting out
have,
into the universe. Yeah.
You know what, Roella? They should have a female Flash by now.
Yes.
Because why
don't
not?
they?
You're
Exactly.
saying that women can't be fast and easy. I am here to tell you that they are only here to be fast and I have only run into fast and easy.
Now, Kevin, they do have a female Flash.
Get the hell out of here,
They
Tony.
They do.
Pulling
his
out
daughter,
the nerd card. He's pulling it out. He's,
his
he's
daughter,
throwing it down.
actually, that he had with
Iris.
Iris.
The
Yeah,
daughter
him and
of
Iris
Nora.
have a child.
Nora.
Turns into a speedster. Nora, yeah.
When was this?
It was written into the comic books for a long time, and then it actually was written to the show last season or 2 seasons ago.
Oh, dang.
But she's a time traveling speedster that comes back in time in order to fix certain things. So like it's a double entendre as far as time and the Speed Force and blah 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 blah.
I still like Robot Chicken's take on Superman crying at the side of the bed while Lois Lane's pelvis is destroyed. Nothing like claymation to give you the full idea of what would happen when Lois Lane screams faster, harder to the Man of Steel, because you die, right? That's probably an honest depiction. So the idea that they did there was they basically said, we don't want her to die, even if these nerds go into it. They're like, oh, there's no way that the Flash wouldn't just fucking kill her with the amount of thrust and stuff. And you know how much the nerd community would just...
Wow, you really went into the Flash porno.
Hey, man, I know how babies are born here. You know, he ain't just jerking up into a glass and throwing it her way and being like, hey, fucking swishel it around in the goddamn egg, in the...
Bead babies.
Yeah.
I don't know, with a name like Flash, I don't know how much enjoyment she got.
Yeah, he definitely comes first. You know, that's definitely... He's just like, was that it? He's like, hey man, we're just here for the.
I'm just here for the beginning credits.
How many? Yeah, and if Flash had invincibility too, we got some problems here. Every woman in the world has been impregnated.
So Kevin, how long are you going to go to the movie theater and watch the Flash movie for?
Oh, dude, I would never. The last movie that I saw was in the theater actually was the Joker movie. And that was sorely disappointing on a lot of levels. People liked it because they used a lot of shortcuts in the movie. Like, Roella, did you see the new movie Air with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon? They talk about the Michael Jordan show or hear about it. So what they're basically...
I've watched part of it. But I couldn't stay...
Kevin did the same thing, so don't worry.
I'm there with you. This is why I love independent movies like The Devil Comes Dressed for Church 2. Because there's an actual storyline there. With Air, there was 2.5 minutes max of dialogue, and it's Michael Bateman dialogue, so it's just like him acting like Michael Bateman the whole time. It's basically him from Horrible Bosses 1 and 2. It's basically him from fucking Identity Theft. It's Michael Bateman dialogue. So it's pretty easy to flow back and forth. The viewer can get a little bit of a grip of the whole scene, and then off to car scene where there's music. And then that happened 10 times. I get it, Ben Affleck. You really didn't want to make the movie. You wanted a lot of money from Amazon Prime, but this is just in your face laziness right there. But could you speaking of that movie, The Devil Comes Dressed to Church The Devil Comes Dressed for Church 2, could you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, that was something I did background on.
Nice.
And I still haven't gotten paid for it. It's still they keep needing to redo the audio and keep trying to do.
I love
things
independent
and
movies
stuff.
with their description of their movies. You want to hear this one? This is great. This is what they put down: a philandering pastor and a black unqualified usher / deacon. Like they needed to put / deacon.
Actually,
First
I'm
of
going to
all,
hold you up 1 second.
awesome.
Remember DJ Anonymous, Mike Simmons,
Yes.
who we had on the show?
Yeah.
He played the
Yeah.
deacon.
He played the
Yeah.
deacon. Well, they don't.
Yes.
You can use.
But it's been separated now, so he's not on that anymore, and they're doing reshoots and stuff. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, and like I said, I still haven't been paid for it.
I just like the fifth little word in there. It's just like black unqualified. I'm like, fuck, man, really?
So,
I mean, that's and then the first lady. I'm guessing this is more politically bound, right?
yes, so that was something where I was just doing background, right? And I was supposed to be one of the aides, one of Michelle Obama's aides. And I was there for like 3 days. I was supposed to be there 3 days, and went the second day. Wardrobe guy said, I'm going to make you a housekeeper. So I changed wardrobe, and it was just me and Viola Davis in the scene. And the director said, well, she needs to say something. So they gave me a line, they mic'd me up, and that's where I got SAG eligible. They cut it though, but I still got SAG
something.
eligible. Yep.
That's
and I
cool.
got a lot of pay. Got a lot of pay to say, good evening, ma'am.
There's $1,000.
Yep.
Basically, so that's been the writers have been striking still. Let me just be more specific on that. The unionized writers have been striking from a specific group, a very, very thin category if you're counting all the writers in the world. So they just want to raise the bar higher so that way they can renegotiate their contracts. I'm fine with people making money, but when the last bunch of movies that really came out, you're either working for Netflix and you're a writer currently for them, you're working currently for Disney and you're already a writer and they're pretty well taken care of. Everybody wants to kind of work for them. You're working for DC, you're working for Amazon Prime, or you're subcontracted out between one of those super giants, or Paramount, if even they know how to make a streaming service that if I have to see one more goddamn toilet paper commercial, as if I don't use toilet paper, which I don't, but it's just crazy. Tony, what are you staring at there, my man? What do you got?
Well, one of the things that we had talked about before, Roella, was your time on a Netflix super
Red
movie.
Notice.
Yeah,
Yes.
Red Notice.
So
Red Notice.
I got to be part of the sequestered group for Red Notice, Netflix's Red Notice. And
Now I don't know if you remember what Red Notice is, Kevin. It's got Rock, The Rock.
Nice.
It's got Ryan Reynolds. It's got
Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot. Yeah.
Gadot.
What's the opposite of Ryan Reynolds and The Rock? Okay, Vin Diesel and fucking Paul Rudd. They're like, well, These are our backups.
Danny DeVito. I don't know. You said the opposite.
But
I'm thinking like somebody.
Oh yeah. Never mind. I should have said like the B plan. You know, like anybody have the B plan over here? Jewish Ryan Reynolds is always Paul Rudd.
But tell us about your time on the Red Notice, of course, from start to finish, and
yeah,
this will go into a lot more storyline.
I think it was probably about my 5th maybe background job actually, and Tammy Smith, she's the one that she had that casting position, and so she cast. It was about 50 of us or so, and we got to stay there for almost 3 months. So we stayed at the hotel, and we went straight to the studio and back. You couldn't stop at the gas station or anything. We were in a bubble, and we got to take COVID tests every day and twice on Wednesday.
I like to call this the Hollywood glitterati, because like it was a budget so big, so illustrious, and the Netflix money, that you guys had quite a few luxury amenities.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. We got to DJ, as we like to call him, he gave everybody a bottle of his tequila, the clear and I think I got it back. I guess you can't see it. And the dark one and the light one. And then we also got an aviation gin from Ryan. And Ryan Reynolds, he actually taped 300 videos of him doing a little message for the cast, the crew, the background. And I've got one. And so I've got him wearing his Deadpool mask, and it's just super awesome. Which, if I would have been thinking though, I should have had him like do it without the mask, probably, so that I could be like, see, it is Ryan Reynolds, it's not somebody.
You didn't just do like a voiceover and have somebody do the mask acting.
Yeah.
He's like, listen, I can't be everywhere at once, you know.
Exactly. But it was awesome. It was a great experience. What they did is they had to take they kept the background away from the main actors, so they had to film our scenes, and then they'd film the main actor scenes, and they had to match it up and everything. So when they had us go and move and stuff, we would have to move to specific places so we wouldn't be walking through the main actor. But it was awesome. Tanaway was there. He's DJ's cousin, his stunt man, and his wife was there. They stayed at the hotel that we stayed at.
See how you get that job where you're like, I'm the Rock's cousin. Don't worry about it. I'll be in the movie too. Yeah, dude, you're the stunt man. You get stunt pay.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
That's a payday right there.
Now Sparky's got something there on the big board. I think he's just dying to whip out there.
Was it true that you played a housekeeper though in that movie with DJ?
No.
She not in this one.
Well,
that was on First Lady.
Not according to the big board.
Not according to the big board.
Let's see. Housekeeping, do not smell what I was cooking.
And I'm guessing that's a poop joke because on the sign right there it says restroom, Sparky. Is that a poop joke you made?
Of course it is.
All right. So for everybody that enjoys a poop joke, you just got to really tune into this live right here, and we're
this is where it's come to. This is what it's come to, Kevin.
Well, some places
you had the bottle of vodka to pay you, to take care of the job.
Now that is product placement on the big board right there, brought you for free from the Podguyz podcast big board. Sparky just giving it away right there, pal.
Well, I didn't say the name brand because he hasn't sponsored us yet. But if you want to be a sponsor, please send us an email to the podguyspodcast@gmail.com.
That's a beautiful plug right there. The podguyspodcast@gmail.com. So
Yeah,
far,
we would
the
like
only
to be
people-
sponsored by Terramana Tequila. Terramana
Terramana.
Tequila. That's right. It goes down nice and smooth. It is handcrafted in small batches.
It's that I
Terramana.
just got divorced tequila because of drinking all the tequila and probably domestic violence charges that go along with all of the alcohol, all of the traits that go along with alcoholism.
Dude, we'll have to throw in a DC joke too, because he was Black Adam, of course.
That the movie was a joke enough. You don't have to make
I think The Rock wasn't he accused of just like phoning it in for Black Adam? But then again, if you watch the movie and you're like, oh well, it was bad, right? So you can't really blame him for doing that kind of stuff. It's tough. I mean, it's tough
It's
to
a
Wayne
it's
Johnson.
a horrible situation because the way that the movie is supposed to be portrayed is through Shazam, and then through Shazam comes
Right.
Black Adam, but not to say that like they're both cut from the same cloth, but when you're talking about
Yeah.
Shazam, you're talking about something that's been kind of transformed from the original version as well, and it just doesn't mesh well with where he is at, and not necessarily the Snyderverse, but with everything that was going on with Black Adam and Superman, that should have happened in that whole situation as well. So, I mean, regardless of the do's and don'ts and the failings and
Well, you want to have a
everything that
matter
could
of
be
like consistency whenever you're doing a storyboard and all that nice stuff. And if they said, "Oh, screw the consistency," then you're also going to negotiate other parts of the movie, and then they say to themselves, "Well, we got The Rock, so that's all we really need is The Rock and a script.
Yeah.
Maybe a script. Put a cape on him. He's a superhero. This should work, right?" It's almost like that on Bell Island or whatever the hell, Bell Island. They got Morgan Freeman, and then they're like, "Oh, fuck, we got to write a movie now." And
we have to do a script. We have to do something for it.
and he says, and
Anything would be
like
great.
and able to get Morgan Freeman, they're like, he said that he doesn't want to walk in the movie, so maybe his character is in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
That sounds happy, right? And we'll make his love interest 30 years younger than him with 2 kids, and maybe a guy comes by and he yells at him. Kenan Thompson might be available for this movie, and he was. Like, it was a throw together movie, and I tell you what, if you don't notice it, and you're like, that was a nice family movie. It's like, dude,
The good burger, home of the good burger.
that was barely passable of a movie. Where it's just like, really, you know who made that movie really good? The youngest kid's chemistry with Morgan Freeman. I mean, Morgan Freeman looked like he really didn't like working with child actors. And, like that was kind of his role anyways. Just like I was talking to Tony's brother, Roella, right? About the Otto fucking character from Tom Hanks. Everybody anytime I ask somebody,
Oh,
who do you think could have played a better grumpy guy than Tom Hanks? Because like anybody, you normally see Tom Hanks in every role he's ever done. Even in Philadelphia, he was like an upbeat dude with AIDS, like full blown AIDS. He's like, well, I'm still cracking a joke.
He played Mr. Rogers. He played Mr. Rogers.
Played Mr.
And
Rogers.
then you're gonna have him play Otto.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly. There's no. It's like falling off a cliff point. You're not even given. You're not. You can play Otto if you're like 15 years from now, maybe. Yeah. Like you can't.
No. I mean, even look at what he played before that. It was Geppetto.
Exactly. Yeah, and also weird because he also played Walt Disney.
Yeah.
Also weird because dude can't play everybody. Like who can play everybody? Christian Bale. Christian Bale can fucking knock on like 100 pounds just to play a scumbag like Dick Cheney. Now that's dedication right there. But Tom Hanks doesn't have that sort of range to play a dick or a jerk or whatever. If you could raise Walter Matthau from the dead and throw him in that role, perfect. There you go. Amazing.
But even in the Otto movie, he wasn't a jerk. He was a nice guy in the end.
He was a nice guy in the end, and he was a nice guy in the beginning, probably. Because I don't really, his acting in that for a little bit, I was watching, I'm like, this is kind of like acting you see on Criminal Minds, where you're not really buying any of it, and you're like, man, aren't you supposed to be better than this? And you realize you're watching Criminal Minds, not Law and Order, and you're like, oh fuck, well that's why. And you change the channel immediately and realize that the fucking infomercial selling rotisserie chicken, set it and forget it, is probably better off, because those guys are putting a lot of emotion into selling something you're never going to use after 6 easy payments of $49.99 plus shipping and handling. But unless you call right now, we're going to take the shipping and handling. Forget about it. It's free.
Yeah, but they are trying to get their next role, so they
Roella,
gotta sell it. They gotta sell it.
It's Roella. What was a movie that you watched recently that you liked, you really enjoyed, or what was the last movie that you watched that you said to yourself, you know what, I could watch this again. This was good.
That I could watch again.
And no, it's tough. This is a tough question right here, because I know, and this is why the writer's strike doesn't really portray to anybody. They're like, you've been fucking picking up a comic book and calling that a movie. How are you writing anything? What are you guys really doing?
I don't. Well, aside from the movies that I'm in, let's say Spirited Away or Howl's Moving Castle. Yeah, Howl's Moving Castle.
I never saw that.
It's an anime movie. It's anime.
Okay, all right. Now, anime movies are known for normally
Studio
have,
Ghibli.
There's a lot of stuff going on with anime movies. Like, I mean, a lot of stuff where it's just like, oh, he is his father's dead soul is inside of that robot. What the fuck? Really?
No, Studio Ghibli
Well, go
got
on.
bought out. Studio Ghibli got bought out by HBO Max, right?
Is it HBO Max?
They
Yeah,
signed a
it
contract
is.
with them or something.
Yeah.
It's not going to be HBO Max anymore. It's just going to be known as Max, not a sponsor, by
Yeah.
the way.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's just Max.
But if you guys do want to be a sponsor, please get a hold of us at the podguyspodcast@gmail.com.
I like how HBO's like, we need to go for the older audience because,
Yeah.
because they'll really like what we're putting out there now. Who decided on the color light purple? You gotta be really Dimetap? You guys got the color of fucking NyQuil going on here.
And
then
Grimace.
Hey kids.
Thanks for the color of Grimace.
Just
I
Max.
don't know.
Grimace, yeah, it's like a Grimace color. Like at least with Amazon Prime, you're like, oh, I don't like any of the shitty movies or whatever. I just get it for the free shipping. I don't have to fucking support mom and pop shops out there because they're charging me $8 for toothpaste. So fuck all that. They're like, yo, we're back.
Oh, HBO Max also has DC, so
They do
I did
have
watch
DC.
this movie recently. It's Sisu, I think it's called. SISU. This guy, he finds some gold. He's like digging and he finds a big thing of gold. He breaks it up. The Nazis come, and then it's the whole movie's him fighting all these Nazis and killing them, and he just keeps going because he's trying to get his gold back. And he's
So
killing
I think I
them
remember
'cause they
seeing
messed
something
with him.
about it.
Does this guy wear tan clothes, a fedora, has a whip and a
Yeah. I don't know if he's. No,
I think
he doesn't have a
I think
whip.
Sparky just made it funny right there. It feels like Indiana Jones, right?
It does sound like, it does, doesn't it? But it was pretty good.
It's like they
Kinda
just
gory.
retooled it. They're like, Harrison Ford's a little. It's like somebody fucking fell asleep while Indiana Jones was on, and they're like, I dreamed a movie last night, and they're like, tell us about it. Kid who owns this goddamn.
Well, there's a whole nother Indiana Jones coming out.
I don't know how I feel about that. Like
Me
like,
either.
if okay, so I'll buy it if Indiana Jones has to pee every fucking 5 minutes. Okay, where they keep Harrison Ford and he's just like, I'll be right back, kids. I'm just gonna use the bathroom real quick. Like, oh man, this is getting sad. Or it's just like, hey, Indy, did you take your Geritol today? Oh God, I know I forgot something. Where he's just having a lot of tough times.
Indiana Jones at the retirement home.
Indiana Jones and the trip to the Rite Aid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones and the Great Golden Holiday.
Tony, the new scene for him is the fucking automatic door is almost closing on him because he's that frail. He's like,
The The battery's failing on the wheelchair.
No, why?
It keeps on panning back and forth from him in the door, him in the door, him in the door.
Harrison Ford is at an extremely old age right
Yeah.
now. You know, it would be like,
he's getting up there.
listen, Clint Eastwood stopped playing Dirty Harry for a good reason, because after a while, we know that the gun that he was using is more powerful than his whole body. You know, he's going to shoot that thing. He's going to go fucking backwards 20 feet. Be like, do you feel lucky today, sir?
It's going to be like a
I
failed
normally
police
ask-
academy.
Clint Eastwood plays Dirty Harry again, and he says, do you feel lucky today? And the clerk at the gas station says, sir, I normally ask that to you when you bet the Powerball. So would you like to pick your own numbers again? Huh? Oh, no, just a quick pick, I guess. Where am I? Who am
Get
I?
off my lawn.
Quick, let me talk to a chair and I'll call it Obama. Everybody forgets about that, too. He literally monologued a chair, an empty fucking chair for the GOP. What the fuck? Seriously, nobody did a dress rehearsal with Clint Eastwood? Nobody said, hey, Clint, what are you going to do? What are you planning? Oh, something good. All right, that's fine. Cool. We're going live in about 20 minutes. Hey, what's the chair about? It's part of the act. Hilarious. Okay, do whatever you like there, sir. You're Clint Eastwood. You're a legend. Fucking 20 minutes of talking to a chair.
Wait, would you like all our money? Yes, I would.
Dude,
Okay.
that's the thing. He was the only person that could hear the responses that the chair was given. He didn't even fucking do any foreshadowing at all. Nothing.
He just went up there. That was it. That was it.
Hey, what do you think about that, President Obama? Sir, that's a chair. Are you all right, Clint? How old is he? Who approved this? Fuck. And of course, it doesn't make the Mormon guy running look any more sane, because now you already got a weird fucking religion. You got Clint Eastwood up there talking about a fucking chair, and then you got Paul Ryan, your vice president at the time, nominee, pointing at charts and shit. How he's gonna tax people more for tires and save the goddamn and never fix the roads, and that's how we're gonna fix the budget instead of cutting one. I don't know. I digress. We're not a political thing right here. That's just. Listen, man, there's a reason why Clint Eastwood did not continue on with Dirty Harry. You don't revisit some of these roles. In fact, Star Wars did Harrison Ford's character dirty completely. Here they fucking got him. They're calling him a smuggler still in the movie. Meanwhile, last I checked in The Return of the Jedi, he's a goddamn war hero. What the fuck? Why are we pretending like that never happened? Also, I guess Empire Strikes Back never happened. In fact, I think Dickhead just watched the first half of the first movie ever, and he's like, "Oh, I got the character down. Cool." And he's J.J. Abrams. What a scumbag. You know, man, you give somebody a franchise, like, how does this guy keep getting work is beyond me. Where he's just like, you know what we need to do? We need to recast the Star Trek that wasn't popular. You know, recast Captain Kirk and all that shit. Dude, you could have called up Patrick Stewart any fucking day of the weekends. And by the way, Patrick Stewart is actually under Disney's contract and called it Picard the goddamn movie and made more money than this fucking season 1, 2, and 3 bullshit's doing. Sorry, Tony. I'm end of rant, I swear.
Are you sure? Are we going back to the text now? Are you okay? You're good? You're good? Okay. All right.
So yesterday, I actually got to go to a premiere of a film that I recently was in called Unequally Yoked Christmas. And it was at the Pan Fam Film Festival. And Yahya McClain is the writer director of that film. And I play a Muslim, play a white Muslim.
That'll work, right?
Yeah, I'm half white, so I'm half white, half Northern Cheyenne, and actually being a half breed, I didn't see much representation growing up in
I totally hear you. I swear my grandfather,
Here it comes. We're
well,
ready.
thank you, Tony. My great grandmother.
The pasty guy in the white corner.
I'm sorry, Tony. You haven't been whitewashed, throughout your lifetime. But I am the final version of whitewashing. Here, I'm actually 1/3 Tuscarora.
I'm Jirish, for God's sakes. Jewish Irish.
Yeah, Jewish Irish. Yeah, I get it. You're cheap with your liquor. Cool. Your fucking stereotype.
And
Don't
I
tell.
actually, I did.
Cheyenne's around Wyoming, though. Am I right, Rolla? Cheyenne tribes around like the Wyoming area, northwestern.
We're up there in Montana. The northern
Montana.
Cheyenne's up in Montana, and then the southern Cheyenne are over in Oklahoma.
Okay, so it's a vast amount of stuff because I guess my grandfather hated it when they called everybody Native American. He's like, they do that to try to forget about the tribes and stuff that were actually existing at the
well,
time.
everybody's starting to call it. We're starting to call ourselves indigenous, because we were here before it was America. So to call us Native American is like a misnomer.
It's kind of an insult. Like it's kind of like saying, well, it was always America, and these were the people we found when we discovered it. Wait, hold on, run that back again.
And that's like, English is a foreign language here. And
the other languages are dying off or have been dead for years now.
I'm trying to learn Cheyenne, and it's very, very difficult because I don't really have anybody I can speak with, and so it's
now I'm sure that you've gotten this where they're like, oh, Mexican or Chinese, because the bloodlines, if you push together North America, China, Japan, and Philippines, if you push them all together, the genetics kind of look similar to a degree, right?
Right. Yeah. I've got
no, Roella, you're really small in stature as well.
Right. I'm 5 feet 1 inch. 1 inch. And
so she fit perfect into that whole realm of that.
I've
like
got
the Philippines and
I walked into stores and people just start speaking Spanish to me and I don't know what they're saying. And then I've got Asian women or Asian people come up to me and they ask me where I'm from, and I'm like, I was born in Texas. And they're like, well,
do they ever go up to you? They look like back and forth real quick, and they say something like, and you're like, oh,
you're like,
no, but they do think that I'm Asian. So even Asian people think I'm Asian. So
all right, Sparky's got out his measuring tape right there. He's trying to figure out how tall you would be next to him, because that's a thing to have next to you at all times is a measuring tape, just in case you wanted to know how tall the person would be next to you. How tall is that, Sparky? That's good Sparky height right there, right?
Up to your neck area.
So, Roella, just in case you were imagining how tall you would be standing next to Sparky, because that's a mystery I've always had, how tall Roella Day would be right next to Sparky. You now know.
And the world is such a better place now.
Yes.
Knowing it's half
now we all know.
Yeah. Knowing it's half.
He's killing me today.
I like to keep a measuring tape close and handy. So.
No, Roella, you do have
you never know.
You do have aspirations, Roella. Of course, what would be your favorite go-to role that you're looking for, especially for the future? What kind of aspirations do you have? Do you want to do comedy? Do you want to do more of a like an improv? Do you want to do more action? Do you want to do like what are you up for is my question. Are you up for anything, everything? Just
or maybe Tony, maybe she wants to be in the next Podguyz podcast commercial for merchbooth.com.
Could
just
be.
Maybe that might be the big breakout role right there.
Actually, so like I said, growing up, I saw nothing of myself in anybody I saw on TV or in movies and print or anything. And so I wanted to be the representation because I kept waiting, I was like, where's the representation? Where's the people that look like me? And so that's why I started doing background actually. And so I'm up for like being the astronaut, being the executive, being the owner of the business, being the doctor, being the neurosurgeon,
And Roella, you make a compelling point right there that I couldn't agree with you more on. Where
there is no Native American representation anywhere.
Representation where a lot of people get angry on Facebook when they're just seeing like, oh, of course the doctor has to be a black woman. It's like, what the fuck not? You don't see that every day. Are you saying that's an impossibility because it's so people have been so ingrained and used to seeing a doctor that's just a white guy, a white overweight kind of guy, or a white anybody who's a white male that is just normally, they're like, oh, well, that's a doctor. And then if they see a female doctor who's also white, they're like, well, I guess I could kind of take that idea. But you throw a black female person in there, or now Cheyenne, in any situation, like you were just given the role of a cleaning lady, right? Because they're like, well, not quite Mexican, but probably can pull it off. There's a lot of like, whenever you're going out for auditions, right? There's a lot of typecasting and everybody, everybody like, you're not trying to feel each other out when you're all auditioning for parts, but you already kind of know who's auditioning for what role and who's auditioning for another role. And, it's not like everybody separates each other, but they kind of do, because, you don't really want to shove it in anybody else's face, because certain roles were made for certain looking kind of people. Dude, I wear a pair of glasses. I'm always the nerdy white guy that's skinny and frail looking. And, they're like, say something nerdy. And I'm like, physicists. They're like, I don't know.
That's you, though.
and I'm not very smart. I just sound like I'm very smart. I can put words together and run on sentences and just carry on for days. But that doesn't mean I'm saying anything that makes any goddamn sense at all, for the most part. Right, Tony?
True.
I figured it out.
It's true.
I figured out Roella's role that she can do.
We're ready for this, Marky. Show us the magic.
She could go marching down to Disney and say, yes, she wants to be in a flashback episode of Echo. She could either play her mom or her grandmother. Be perfect.
Yes, that would be awesome. That would be great. Yeah.
Or she could play Pocahontas, right? And have John Smith be 105 years old and be like, yeah, long story, he's still alive.
He's a rapist.
Yeah. Kidnapper.
He was a kidnapper. He was a kidnapper and a rapist. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's almost like they just read the history book after buying the rights to the character. They're like, whoa, well.
Wait. Let's go into this.
Got a lot to edit here.
We're gonna go into Christopher Columbus Day again.
Oh yeah, Christopher Columbus.
Yeah, because he was such a great guy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
my gosh.
Yeah, well, Christopher Columbus. They're like, hey, Chris, what are you doing with that boat over there? He's like, oh, pepper. Gotta get spices and shit. And they're like, that's a pretty big boat for just pepper. I know, but if I got any room, I'll fit some other shit in there.
I actually told my kids one year, I was like, no, Thanksgiving, that's whenever they came over, in a bunch of natives, they all got together and they went and they killed them, and then they made a big feast and they celebrated after that.
Yeah, I mean that makes more sense than somehow they got a turkey to cook golden brown and with no conventional oven technology at the time.
Yeah. And they celebrated the whole thing where they had beat up Christopher Columbus and they chased him away. And I was like, if they're gonna make up all these fairy tales, then I might as well make up some fairy tales and make them.
They strategically put Columbus statues in highly populated. There's Italian areas. Yeah, there's normally a pizza shop about 500 yards away from every Columbus statue, right? So if you just Google Columbus statues, you can find some pretty good pizza.
You'll find them either in front of a church, or you'll find them in front of an Italian place.
Or you can just call the cops and be like, 911, I found a rapist. He's standing right here. Yep.
Yeah,
There's the
you can
Columbus
tell they have
statue.
the best chicken parmesan. And
Chicken parmesan.
Yeah, his real name was Christopher Colombo. The Spanish were very happy to help him out, Ferdinand and Isabella. In fact, he only wanted one boat. Once he told them what he wanted the boat for, they're like, "Whoa, dude, take 3." He's like, "Really?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "Yeah, we're all about
actually,
this."
in the real event, wasn't there 5 or 7?
Yeah, there was more than 3. There was like 5 or 7. Yes.
Hold
Yeah.
on now. They had a school song about this.
No, well, the Nina, the Panta, and the Santa Maria.
That's
three
almost
main
as
boats.
disgusting as when they had when they separated children away from their parents during the tribal days of during FDR's administration, and they had them sing 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Indian on tape, and all of that disgusting mess right there. Where, and that's never really highlighted. So when people like to talk great about FDR, dude, he not only condoned that idea, the Japanese internment camps, and oh, by the way, for the trifecta, did nothing about the Klan of the Ku Klux Klan, the
Right.
racist organization. So they're like, but he did the Social Security thing. Guess what the average life expectancy was back then? It was about fucking 52. And he said, yeah, 65 sounds good. That's just stealing from people while you're poisoning them with lead and all that nice shit. So try not to put everything out. Try not to put everything out there that like cigarettes and butter and lard and all that nice crap to clog up everybody's goddamn heart, and then be like, well, too bad you didn't collect Social Security. Hell, I remember back in the 90s, Tony. Remember when they'd be like, oh, that man over there, he got a Social Security check. They're like, God damn, he'll probably have that for about 2 weeks and die because 65 is old. Now people are living on it to the point where it's they're like, hey, can we have a cost
They're
of
living
living
there like
increase? They're
110.
"Motherfuckers, you're still alive?" Yeah, 100 and some odd years. And it's kind of like the tug of war sort of thing. But yeah, dude, there was supposed to be more. There were more boats than just the 3 boats that people were told to sing in the song, sort of thing. But Columbus, not now. There's that idea out there of revisionist history, right? Where people that are white and proud of their heritage because they've been told to be proud for it of years don't like the idea because they might be judged in a bad light because everyone's going to say, oh, you're white, you're a fucking psychopath then, right? Or you come from psychopaths then, right? It's the weirdest. It's almost like a strategic thing in school where they teach children about slavery in September, but then the good part about Black history in February. Kind of strategic there. It doesn't have a good feel to it. Tony, what's your take?
Well, I think there's a lot of things even in Hollywood itself, such as I don't know if you've ever seen this show. There was a show that was called Radium Girls.
Okay.
Did you ever see it? It was actually based upon a true a true story, actually, of girls who contracted radiation poisoning by licking the luminescent paint that they would paint the dials with on watches and clocks and stuff like that. And they never told anybody that they would be contracting this particular radiation poisoning. So there was a fantastic movie about that in general that I was just trying to look up. But I mean, Hollywood always portrays something even from the early 60s, 70s, which were, and not even before then, even in the 50s, 50s, 60s, 70s, that were even during the Depression or towards that era. I had a thought process behind this, and I totally lost it.
So I think I get what you're saying. They're trying to portray it in a positive light, when in fact
always portraying in a positive light.
When it's in fact an actual negative sort of thing. Like remember the TV show Father Knows Best or whatever the hell, or the Bachelor one with Forsythe in the whole thing or whatever the hell. He had what you call a houseboy, a little Chinese guy in there. He's just like, oh, there's my houseboy. And that was a thing out in, California time or California area back in the 50s or whatever the hell, where you would have a live-in servant. And
Right.
that is what a lot of elderly people remember as the good old days, because they had the opportunity to have a servant, and the servants were so damn poor that even if you were middle class, you had a servant with you. So now they say, well,
Mhm.
since certain people were lifted up in society and everybody else stayed kind of the same, while the super rich went even higher up on the scale to the point
Yep.
where, they don't even, you don't even see them in everyday society, let alone do they have repercussions like they could, let's just put it to you this way, and I'm not lying about this. They can sit on their fucking money for 5 generations of death and just still be perfectly fine too, to say, well, they finally lowered the minimum wage down to $1 an hour we wanted anyways, so we don't need them because we have robots to do the job regardless, through automation. But
Yeah.
literally, you have people that reminisce about those days because life was easier for them, and Hollywood portraying it as if the servant in the household, and the type, the Brady Bunch is what was her, Alice from the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
And then you have,
Alex.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
and then you have oh, what the hell, the kind of slow Hazel, which was kind of, I that's how I interpreted the character, where she's like, hey there boss, and you're like, whoa, she lives there. that's that's kind of fun, right? So,
Mr.
but
Belvedere.
by the way, the Brady Bunch, Roella, the creepiest show of all time, because never in the whole entire time,
That's true.
never in the whole entire time did the kids from either side ask, like, hey, well, can we see dad one of these days? Or I miss
Oh
dad.
yeah.
Yeah, right. And then, the other ones aren't like, hey, I miss mom, because they aren't fucking related. And the maid is just like, really, whenever Bobby comes up, like, hey, Alice, I got a question. And she's like, oh shit, he's gonna ask about his mother again. He's like, hey, where do apples come from? And you're like, oh fuck, here's a cartoon fucking response for you. God smiles on a tree and fucking apples pop up and they throw them to your mom and she gets them to the grocery store. And he's like, oh boy, walks away. She's like, oh fuck, thank God he didn't ask where the mother was.
Let's talk
Why
about
do they-
feelings.
they got a stay-at-home mom too. They don't need Alice unless Alice is some kind of fucking rigmarole alibi that killing off both. Unless Alice has thrown mama from the train for both of them and she just killed off both the spouses. And she's like, in return, I want to live for free and bake you all fucking shitty food. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how it works out, but it was very creepy. Addams family stayed together. Munsters, great. They just looked a little creepy. A lot of love in the house. Brady Bunch, creepy as fuck. All together. They even had the one episode. Cindy's calling Mr. Brady dad. And I'm like, well, when the fuck do they normalize that? That's not your dad. And she's just the youngest one there, sort of thing. But, either Roella's frozen or there she is. All right. But yeah, dude, I'm just throwing it out there. My Brady Bunch theory is solid, throughout 7 years. I mean, we're not even getting like a little bit of a sample size, dude. 7 goddamn years, that show. And movies too. They all went to Hawaii.
Yeah.
And no one's asking
Yeah.
ever about.
Well, they had their little special thing where they sang and they danced and they had people on the
They
show.
Partridge Family the friggin' shit out of it.
Goddamn right, they Partridge Family that.
Yeah.
They looked over to their side. At least, and the kids from the Partridge Family, I think maybe they brought up like, oh, I miss dad like one time, something like that, or like I think Danny Bonaducci's character touched on it, which was, like, hey, speaking of parents that are missing,
That was real writing. Like real
Yeah.
writing.
yeah, it just felt very out of place. Roella, have you remember Growing Pains?
Oh
Kirk
yeah,
Cameron?
growing
Boy,
pains.
remember now, dude. Why did Kirk Cameron get all Jesus rehab on everybody? Like he goes around with a microphone now and says, "Do you believe
Yeah.
in Jesus Christ?" Dude, I can't wait for the day that Jesus isn't watching him, right? And somebody just fucking straight up knocks him on his ass over that bullshit. I don't know. It's just maybe that's just
Well,
me.
because you'd
rooting.
have Candace Cameron Bure.
Yeah.
She'd come and jump on you while you're like trying to push him away.
Yeah, well, Tony did actually share something very hilarious with the Podguyz podcast fan page there. I guess Kanye West is this. Are those shoulder pads? What's going on there, Tony? Did you see that thing or no?
You know, you know how fashion forward Kanye is. And
He's so forward, it feels backwards at the moment, but by the time you know it, we're all doing it.
So about a month ago, they had him coming out, of course, with his new wife, new girlfriend, new something.
Well,
yeah,
I got the article
heard
right
about
in
that.
front of me right here, dude. It says controversial rapper Kanye West, who officially changed his name to Ye in 2021. How dare us calling him Kanye West the whole time, is grabbing headlines once again for his wacky sartorial pic. The fashion mogul recently stepped out without his shoes, wearing a T embolized with a German word for police, Pelosia, or whatever the hell, to grab some ice cream with his new wife. Yeah, Polizia. Yeah, Bianca Sensori. She's very beautiful. The casual and weird look grabbed eyeballs as he got a frozen treat at Jenny's Splendid Ice Creams in Los Angeles. So if there was one restaurant that made it through LA right there. And look at this crap. Look at that. Jesus Lord. You know, he's got his, you know, of course she has to cover her face and all that nice crap, because why would you, why just if you're going out with your significant other and she's like, and that had to be his request, where he's just like, hold on, quick, cover all your face.
No,
Cover
because
it all.
if you even remember back to the time that he was actually with Kim Kardashian, she did the same thing. Like she wore a burqa or something to cover her face, and it was like a full like ongoing like I remember she was dressed in gold or something.
He's just a very peculiar fella, you know, like there's only so much I could take.
But there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's a lot wrong with that. So so before being engaged and all that, right, I've been dating women. You stumble upon some of these girls, they say, oh, well, I'm a very good singer. And I always say something like, cool, you know, that's great. And then they're like, oh, you want to hear me sing? And I'm like, not really, you know. And they're like, oh, I can't believe blah, 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 you're a jerk. Or, you know, sometimes if you really, you know, you just want to subject yourself to, you say, okay, great, yeah, then show me, you know, sing something. And it's always the same bullshit. It's, you know, going up and down and all that bullshit, right? So imagine you're the woman, Roella, right? And you're dating Kanye West, and he's just like, I just have these thoughts all the time. They hit my brain, and and that is fucking 24 hours a day, right? Where he's just on.
He's always on.
Telling you, he's just like,
Yeah.
listen, man, I am not wearing shoes anymore because Adidas stole all my money. And you're sitting inside of his mansion, and you're like, they stole all. How are you affording this right now? I own all this. We don't own nothing. We own nothing on this earth, but they stole all my designs. Who Adidas again? No, I don't know who Adidas is, and you don't need. They are not a real entity. There's only so much you could take of that shit, Tony.
But Kevin, he struck a deal with Adidas.
He did strike a deal with Adidas
recently.
The only thing I'm saying is he has to find the most patient or brain dead women out there, or just where, you know, like they can. And by the way, Kim Kardashian kind of fits that shoe both ways, right? Because Pete Davidson must have felt like an adult to her for a while.
Could you imagine where you're in a relationship with Pete Davidson and Pete Davidson is the adult in that relationship?
In the room, he's sticking corn up his nose, and she's like, oh, thank God he's not talking. Like a fucking vacation.
Holy shit.
That's all. Like, you know, that's all. That is all the attention Kanye West is gonna get this week, because, you know.
No, but he struck a deal with Adidas in order to sell off the rest of his shoes that were gonna send them bankrupt. So he's actually re-getting money back with Adidas in order to equalize stuff out.
Oh,
It was a beneficial deal.
Yeah.
It was a beneficial deal for both parties right there. Quick question, Roella Day. You can only keep one of these comedian / actors. Okay, one, and then the other one dies. Okay, just one of them though, and the one is Jim Carrey or Adam Sandler. Go with
I
your
don't
gut.
know. It
Go with your-
depends on what kind
You
of
got to pick
mood I
one.
was
Just
in.
pick one. There is no wrong answer. Can't stress that enough. Tony, go ahead.
I don't know.
I'm going Adam Sandler.
You're going to kill Adam Sandler or keep him?
No, I'm going to keep him.
I'm keeping him too. I'm going with the Sandman.
Yeah.
Sparky, what do you got? Adam Sandler or Jim Carrey? We're giving Roella some time to think of who is going to be dead.
I think I'd take Jim Carrey.
You're taking Jim Carrey to keep. All right, Roella, what do you got there?
Well, I'm going to
We're at a
say Adam
50-50
Sandler
tie
just
right now.
because he's still Adam Sandler, only because he's still acting. Jim Carrey's not acting, and
There you go.
possibly I might be in a film with one of these guys someday. So
That's
Well,
true.
you
She'll
hear
be
that,
in
Jim
Sonic
Carrey? This is your
33.
chance. Well, Jim Carrey, this is your chance to change her mind. So come on,
Yeah.
come
come
on.
on, Jim.
And you know what,
I
Jim
remember
Carrey in his own
Living Color.
in his own right, Jim Carrey is an interesting actor. I'm not going to say he's good or bad because he has done quite a few comedic profile roles.
But then he played different roles then also.
Yeah, that have cemented him in the comedy realm for a long time. Now, on the other hand, Adam Sandler
It's the
has
same
done
guy
a
and over again.
plethora of stupid movies, which I'm sure he has regretted in his time. But now that he's become more of a mainstream serious actor, we're gonna call it serious with the little bunny foo-foo. Serious actor.
With the Uncut Gems movie, right?
Uncut Gems was a fantastic movie.
Very good.
I mean, there's a couple that he's done after that, after Uncut Gems, but you know, there's he's been putting on a more serious connotation.
Love. He did Punch Drunk Love.
I
right?
think you
Punch
can
Drunk Love.
I think you could throw a third guy in the mix there too. Mike Myers. Tons of franchises there. You know, you have the Austin Powers
Yeah.
series, you have Shrek going on there. Shrek, Austin Powers, and I think there's a third one if I'm not mistaken.
Mostly
Cat in
again,
the
all the
Hat.
same.
Wayne's
all the same
World.
characters again with Mike Myers though.
What's that, Sparky?
Mostly all the same characters with Mike Myers. If you went from Austin Powers to Shrek.
I mean, they're kind of so I would say that Shrek's character tone fits all of So I Married an Axe Murderer's family's tone because the Scottish accent is there. And that's an underrated movie right there with Nancy Travis.
What about what's his name? The fat guy from the Austin Powers movie.
There's another one, Scottish accent there. And
dirty was it the Scottish bastard?
Old Dirty Bastard?
Dirty
Old Dirty
Scottish
Bastard's a rapper, right?
ODB. Yeah.
ODB, yeah.
It was like the dirty
Fat Bastard.
old
It was
dirty
Fat
stuff.
Bastard.
Yeah.
Fat Bastard. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Fat Bastard.
Get
But,
in my belly. I'm a big green guy.
Get in my belly.
You know what? I think Jim Carrey did sequels bad. You know, like Ace Ventura 2.
Yeah.
Kind of Dumb and Dumber. Hey, Dumb and Dumber 2.
Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah. And then he started off with the mask and then there was like a whole bunch of masks after the fact that had nothing to do with Jim Carrey really.
Or anything with the movie.
Or anything with the movie from the whole Stanley Ipkiss main
bad.
protagonist from the movie, and then it was just a whole bunch of crap, right? So everything that's been derived, they didn't make a Waterboy 2, okay? That didn't happen. Billy
Thank
Madison
God.
2, Happy Gilmore 2 didn't happen. You know, Adam Sandler's been good enough to not make sequels of stuff.
Bedtime stories.
Except for Grown Ups.
Actually,
Grown
Ups.
Ups 2.
Oh,
okay.
Grown Ups.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. Yeah,
Actually-
I blame David Spade going broke for that. Where he's like, hey, I just need money.
True.
Yeah.
He's actually doing a comedy special right now, or not even a comedy. He's on a comedy tour.
He is, yeah. And
with Rob Schneider.
we did have something very terrible happen this week on Bob Dylan's birthday, May 24th. Passed away of Tina Turner.
Oh yeah.
A big Podguyz podcast goodbye to Tina Turner.
Nobody had her.
Nobody had her in the death pool. We have a death pool, Roella, of people that we think will
We're
die.
horrible
Tina
people,
Turner,
horrible.
Tina Turner wasn't even close. She wasn't even on the radar. You know,
No.
like
No,
yeah,
I
which
was so surprised.
yeah. I mean, who thought that Keith Richards would live this long? You know, like watch Keith Richards be God this whole time, and no one would be surprised. Where she's like, really, God?
Yeah.
You've been doing this the whole time, just playing with the Rolling Stones? Like,
And there he is singing, "What if God was one of me?"
Yeah. What if I was one of me? That'd be great if it was what's his face? Huey Lewis in the news, you know.
On that note,
I am the world.
On that note, Roella, we're gonna roll out the red carpet for you because we are at the end of our time, unfortunately. If people are going to get a hold of you, if you were looking for auditions, you were looking for, of course, trying to get stuff. I mean, how would they get in touch with you?
Roella at yahoo.com.
And I think legally you need to say
Yahoo. And
it's in the fine print somewhere.
Yeah, I'm on IMDb. Probably the only Roella Day on there.
I think you are. I think you are the only Roella Day.
Pretty sure. And then I'm on Actors Access too.
Yeah. No,
so
I love your first name. I love your first name. How did that come to be as far as Roella? Because I find that a funny story as well.
All right. So I was supposed to be a twin, and my mom and dad, they only had boy names picked out. And here I came, and I was so Ronald and Stella, that's my parents' names. You put Ronald and Stella together and you get Roella.
That is a very unique name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had nothing to do with it. I always wanted to.
I mean, you came out of the womb. It was like, I'm going to just call myself Roella. Is that
when
Mom, Dad?
See, when Sparky was born, his parents always wanted a dog. And, they're like, well, I guess we only got dog names picked up, so you'll be Sparky. You know, and they pet him like a dog, and they fucking taught him how to eat food like a dog. And, he was in that cage for a while until the government told him that they couldn't do that anymore, because reasons, right?
Reasons. All the reasons.
Yeah, I always wanted a regular name growing up, though, like Tiffany.
Oh God, thank God you said. I thought you were going to say something about the kid in a cage thing. Like, I always wanted a child instead of a cage.
Now, especially growing up in Texas. Wait, hold on. Growing up in Texas, you never wanted a two-parter name like an Ashley Lee or like a.
Oh no.
No.
Bobby Joe. No,
oh yeah.
Bobby Joe.
Perfect.
Baba Joe, she knows how to blow,
Oh,
she's over there downtown every day on her knees. She's working that neck. She's gonna get arthritis. She don't do any exercises on that thing. Fuck! Forrest Gump 2 should have came out. What the hell?
Would have been done.
Stick to your strengths there, Tom Hanks.
Poor Lieutenant Dan, he lost his legs and he died from the AIDS.
Lieutenant Dan said that he had AIDS, and so did I now. Not sure why. I can't really see too well. They said the diabetes would kick in.
For a while.
Bubba was my favorite character, though, on there. But Bubba, the shrimp.
Yeah.
Oh, Bubba Gum Shrimp, yeah. Perfect.
You get the shrimp, fried shrimp, boiled shrimp, gumbo.
There's
shrimp.
154 different reasons for you to get shrimp. You can make it in any way. You can put it with everything.
Classic movie. You can't top that.
Wow. Guys, if you're going to check out Roella, thank you very much for being on our show, of course.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Sparky, if you were going to find us, where would you find us, sir?
You can find us on mostly every single major streaming platform, including iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, Deezer, Castbox, Pocket Cast, Facebook Live Video, Google Play, Dancing Fingers. I don't know what that's all about, but I was going to say Gio Rio.
Gio Rio.
It's not Gio Rio. But then also, you can find
Gio
our
Savant.
merchandise. You can also find our merchandise at merchbooth.com. Since it's like 80 degrees upstairs in my room, and I'm not going to wear a long sleeve black T-shirt, I got it hanging up.
Actually, I was trying to find out like where we had some new listeners, and we actually had new listeners in the Netherlands and Germany.
Yep. Yeah. You
Crazy.
see, the more times, well, that's because we've been saying the word Nazi more. And
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah, well, that
right.
comes up in the keywords now for them,
Yeah.
and now our podcast pops up in there.
Well, I even said Nazi, right? When I was talking about
Yeah.
Sisu.
And it comes up at least once a week because you
Once a
thought
week.
the whole thing. Just when you thought the Nazis were over,
They make their triumphant return. Now, guys, we are the Podguyz podcast, Podguyz podcast. Find us everywhere you stream. Go to merchbooth.com, of course, for your favorite merchandise for our podcast. Look us under podcast and buy shirts. Buy all the shirts. Buy multiple shirts. They're great for the holidays. Great for the holiday season. They will change your life.
They make miracles happen.
well, they
They
do
make
make
miracles
miracles happen. They are life changing. As we are going to be doing reshoots, so we're going to be doing new shoots for the commercial. So if anybody's
Wait,
interested,
we're reshooting?
no, we're not reshooting the goddamn thing. We're doing we're working on getting everybody together for the new commercial. We do work a lot. We do a lot of podcasts besides this one. Me and Tony, we go on different ones from time to time when we're invited to, and we're just working all the time, man. So like,
Even if we're not invited, we'll just pop up on.
we just pop on. We do just take over shows from time to time, and here they think that we can't, and then they're happy we did. They're always happy we did.
Well, that is the end of our show. Make sure you guys tune in next week. We got some great guests coming up. I am Tony Kaz.
Kevin Neri.
Of course, the ever-loving Picasso.
Okay.
Give it up for Roella Day.
Yay, thank you for having me.
Thank you, guys. Make sure you tune in, share, like, comment below. We love to see, read, hear everything.
And stars.
All right. Have a good night, guys.